Timothée Chalamet became the center of global attention after publicly expressing his love for Kylie Jenner while accepting the Best Actor award at the 2026 Critics' Choice Awards, turning a routine acceptance speech into one of the most talked about moments in recent Hollywood history. The prestigious awards ceremony, attended by the biggest names in film and broadcast worldwide, initially followed its usual elegant pace. Applause filled the room as winners were announced and cameras swept across the audience. However, the atmosphere shifted instantly when Chalamet's name was called as Best Actor, honoring a performance widely praised by critics as one of the most emotionally powerful of his career. As Chalamet walked to the stage, the crowd rose to its feet. In his speech, he first thanked the film's director, cast, and production team, as well as his family, maintaining a composed and professional tone. But midway through the speech, he paused, glanced toward the front row, and directed his attention to Kylie Jenner, who was seated among the audience. In an unexpected and deeply personal moment, Chalamet acknowledged Jenner as a key presence in his life and concluded the sentiment with a simple but powerful declaration, "I love you." The statement immediately drew loud applause and audible reactions from the audience, signaling that the moment had taken everyone by surprise. Cameras quickly captured Kylie Jenner's emotional response. She appeared visibly moved, covering her mouth as her eyes filled with tears before smiling and nodding toward the stage. The reaction shot quickly became one of the most shared images of the night, spreading rapidly across social media platforms within minutes of the broadcast. The public declaration carried particular weight given how private the couple has been about their relationship. Since being linked romantically, Chalamet and Jenner have largely avoided discussing their personal lives in interviews, fueling speculation and persistent rumors. Chalamet's words on stage were widely interpreted as a clear and intentional confirmation of their relationship. Following the ceremony, Chalamet and Jenner dominated global trending topics, with fans and commentators replaying the clip and analyzing every detail of the exchange. Many described the moment as one of the most genuine and emotionally resonant acceptance speeches in recent awards history, while others praised Chalamet for showing vulnerability on such a public stage. Entertainment analysts noted that the moment marked a shift in Chalamet's public image. Known for maintaining a careful boundary between his professional work and private life, the actor revealed a more personal side, reinforcing his reputation not only as a critically acclaimed performer but also as a relatable public figure. Kylie Jenner, meanwhile, was widely viewed as more than a silent presence in the audience. Observers highlighted her role as a supportive partner during a pivotal moment in Chalamet's career, adding depth to public perceptions of their relationship and countering earlier narratives that had dismissed it as temporary or strategic. As the night continued, brief interactions between the couple were captured throughout the venue, further fueling discussion. By the end of the ceremony, the focus had shifted beyond Chalamet's Best Actor win to the emotional resonance of his words and their broader cultural impact. With both a major career milestone and a rare public declaration of love, Timothée Chalamet's appearance at the 2026 Critics' Choice Awards is now being remembered as more than an awards victory. It stands as a defining moment that blended professional achievement with personal authenticity, leaving a lasting impression on audiences around the world. In the hours following the ceremony, additional details began to emerge that added even more weight to the moment. Sources inside the venue described a noticeable shift in the atmosphere after Chalamet's declaration, with conversations among guests repeatedly circling back to the speech rather than the remaining awards. Industry insiders noted that it was rare for a personal statement to eclipse an entire awards night, especially one centered on cinematic achievement. Several attendees reportedly described Chalamet as visibly emotional once he stepped off stage. According to witnesses, he was briefly embraced by close friends and colleagues before returning to his seat beside Jenner. Their exchange, though subtle, was described as calm and intimate, reinforcing the idea that the words spoken on stage were not a publicity gesture but a genuine reflection of their bond. Within minutes of the broadcast ending, major entertainment outlets began publishing breaking headlines highlighting the declaration. Clips of the speech were replayed across television networks and social platforms, with commentators dissecting Chalamet's tone, body language, and choice of words. The phrase "I love you," spoken so plainly on one of Hollywood's most visible stages, quickly became a defining quote of the night. Public reaction continued to build as fans flooded social media with messages of support. Many praised Chalamet for his honesty, while others focused on the cultural significance of a leading actor openly expressing vulnerability at the peak of his career. For a generation accustomed to carefully managed celebrity personas, the moment was widely interpreted as refreshing and authentic. Meanwhile, Kylie Jenner's response also drew significant attention. Known for her carefully curated public image and immense influence across fashion and beauty industries, Jenner's emotional reaction humanized her in the eyes of many viewers. Analysts noted that the unscripted nature of her response stood in contrast to her usual composed public appearances, making the moment feel even more sincere. As discussion intensified, speculation naturally followed. Some observers questioned whether the declaration signaled a new phase in the couple's relationship, possibly hinting at greater public openness moving forward. Others suggested it marked a symbolic turning point, where Chalamet felt secure enough both professionally and personally to share a private sentiment on a global stage. Industry experts also pointed out the timing of the moment. Chalamet's Best Actor win came at a critical point in his career, cementing his status as one of the most respected performers of his generation. To many, the decision to publicly acknowledge Jenner at such a milestone suggested that her support had been closely intertwined with his journey to that achievement. In the days following the awards, discussions expanded beyond entertainment news into broader cultural commentary. Media analysts framed the moment as part of a larger shift in Hollywood, where expressions of emotional transparency are increasingly valued alongside talent and box office success. Chalamet's speech was cited as an example of how authenticity can resonate as strongly as professional accolades. Behind the scenes, sources familiar with the couple described the relationship as steady and grounded, despite the constant attention. According to these accounts, both Chalamet and Jenner have made deliberate efforts to protect their privacy, choosing carefully when and how to share aspects of their personal lives. The Critics' Choice Awards moment, therefore, was seen as intentional rather than impulsive. As coverage continued, the focus gradually widened to include the broader impact of the night. Chalamet's performance, which earned him the Best Actor honor, experienced a renewed surge of interest, with streaming numbers and online searches reportedly climbing in the aftermath of the ceremony. At the same time, public fascination with his personal life intensified, blending professional acclaim with personal narrative in a way that few actors managed to balance. By the end of the week, the speech had been labeled by several outlets as one of the most memorable awards moments of the decade. Not because of grand theatrics or controversy, but because of its simplicity. In a room filled with scripted remarks and polished appearances, a single unscripted expression of love stood out. As Hollywood moves forward from the 2026 Critics' Choice Awards, the image of Timothée Chalamet standing on stage, trophy in hand, and speaking directly to Kylie Jenner remains etched in public memory. It represents a rare intersection of career triumph and personal truth, reminding audiences that even at the highest levels of fame, moments of genuine connection can still cut through the noise. Whether this moment marks a lasting shift in how the couple navigates public life remains to be seen. What is certain, however, is that the declaration has already secured its place in pop culture history. Long after the applause faded and the lights dimmed, the impact of those three words continues to ripple across conversations, headlines, and screens worldwide. As coverage expanded internationally, the moment was quickly contextualized within the broader narrative of modern celebrity culture. Commentators noted that public declarations of love at major awards shows have become increasingly rare, especially among actors who carefully guard their private lives. In that context, Chalamet's words were seen not as a calculated move, but as a deliberate departure from industry norms that prioritize restraint over openness. Major entertainment networks began inviting body language experts and cultural critics to analyze the speech frame by frame. Many pointed to Chalamet's pause before speaking as a key indicator of authenticity, suggesting he made a conscious decision in real time rather than following a rehearsed script. His relaxed posture afterward, combined with Jenner's emotional but composed reaction, reinforced the impression of sincerity. The moment also reignited discussions about how public perception of Kylie Jenner has evolved. Once primarily associated with reality television and business ventures, Jenner has increasingly been viewed through a different lens since her relationship with Chalamet became public. Analysts observed that her presence at high-profile film events, including the Critics' Choice Awards, signaled a deeper integration into the film industry's social sphere, albeit without overt attempts to dominate attention. In the days that followed, paparazzi images and brief video clips of the couple leaving the venue circulated widely. Unlike previous appearances marked by guarded expressions and minimal interaction, the pair appeared calm and unbothered, exchanging quiet words and maintaining close proximity. Observers interpreted this as further evidence that the public declaration had not unsettled them, but rather reflected an already established dynamic. Entertainment journalists also revisited past interviews and statements from Chalamet, noting how consistently he had avoided discussing his romantic life. This historical context made the Critics' Choice Awards moment stand out even more. For many fans, the contrast between his usual discretion and this single, powerful statement elevated its impact, transforming it into a defining chapter in his public narrative. From a career perspective, the timing proved significant. Chalamet's Best Actor win was widely viewed as a culmination of years of critically acclaimed performances and careful role selection. By linking that professional milestone with a personal acknowledgement, he effectively intertwined his artistic journey with his emotional support system, a move some critics described as quietly transformative. Social media platforms continued to amplify the moment well beyond the initial broadcast. Fan edits, reaction videos, and commentary threads accumulated millions of views, extending the life of the speech far beyond the ceremony itself. The phrase "I love you" became a trending quote, often paired with still images of Jenner's reaction, underscoring how a brief exchange can resonate across digital spaces. Industry insiders suggested that the moment could influence how future award speeches are perceived. In an environment often criticized for predictability, Chalamet's candid words introduced an element of unpredictability that many viewers found refreshing. Some producers reportedly welcomed the renewed public interest, seeing it as evidence that awards shows can still generate genuine emotional engagement. At the same time, discussions emerged around the pressure such moments can place on public figures. Analysts cautioned that while the declaration was widely celebrated, it also heightened scrutiny of the couple's relationship. Every subsequent appearance, gesture, or absence is now likely to be interpreted through the lens of that public affirmation, increasing the stakes of their visibility. Despite this, sources close to the couple emphasized their commitment to maintaining balance. According to those familiar with their dynamic, both Chalamet and Jenner are aware of the attention their relationship attracts and have agreed to remain selective about public exposure. The Critics' Choice Awards moment, they suggested, was meaningful precisely because it was rare. As award season continued, references to the speech surfaced repeatedly in interviews and press coverage. Co-stars and filmmakers working with Chalamet were asked about his emotional openness, while Jenner faced questions about her reaction and support. Both parties responded cautiously, neither confirming nor denying interpretations, allowing the moment to stand largely on its own. Looking back, cultural commentators framed the event as emblematic of a shifting era in Hollywood. Where past generations emphasized mystique and distance, newer stars appear more willing to reveal carefully chosen glimpses of their personal lives. Chalamet's declaration was cited as an example of this evolution, blending vulnerability with control rather than abandoning privacy altogether. By the end of the month, the Critics' Choice Awards 2026 were frequently referenced not only for their winners, but for that singular speech. In retrospectives and highlight reels, the moment was positioned alongside other iconic acceptance speeches, distinguished not by grand rhetoric but by emotional clarity. As time passes, the significance of Timothée Chalamet's words to Kylie Jenner continues to be reassessed. What remains consistent is the consensus that the moment transcended typical celebrity news. It resonated because it felt unguarded in an industry defined by careful image management, and because it unfolded during a moment of undeniable professional triumph. In the broader cultural memory, the image of Chalamet standing under the stage lights, holding his Best Actor trophy, and speaking directly to someone he loves has become emblematic of a new kind of Hollywood narrative. One where success and vulnerability are not mutually exclusive, and where a few unscripted words can leave a lasting imprint long after the applause has faded. As the story continued to unfold, attention turned to how the moment was being interpreted within Hollywood itself. Several veteran figures in the industry quietly acknowledged that such a public declaration, delivered at a peak career moment, carried symbolic weight. Award stages have long been spaces for gratitude and professional recognition, not personal revelations. By breaking that unspoken rule, Chalamet reframed what an acceptance speech could represent. Trade publications began highlighting how carefully the moment balanced emotion and restraint. Chalamet did not linger, did not dramatize, and did not elaborate. The simplicity of his words became their strength. Observers noted that the lack of excess explanation left room for interpretation, allowing audiences to project meaning without feeling manipulated. In an era often criticized for performative authenticity, the restraint itself felt authentic. Behind the scenes, the production team of the awards ceremony reportedly reacted with surprise. According to insiders, the declaration was not part of any rehearsal or script review. This detail further fueled the narrative that the moment was spontaneous, a genuine decision made under the pressure of the spotlight rather than a planned headline grab. As media coverage expanded globally, international outlets framed the story through different cultural lenses. In some regions, the focus centered on romance and emotional bravery, while others emphasized the breaking of celebrity norms. Yet across languages and markets, the core narrative remained consistent, a leading actor choosing honesty at a moment of maximum visibility. Kylie Jenner's role in the story also continued to evolve in public discussion. Commentators pointed out that she did not seek the spotlight during or after the speech. She did not stand, wave, or exaggerate her reaction. Her stillness, paired with visible emotion, was widely interpreted as respect for the moment rather than an attempt to share it. This restraint played a key role in how positively the moment was received. Fashion and lifestyle media also found new angles. Jenner's appearance that night, elegant but understated by her usual standards, was reinterpreted as part of a larger narrative of support rather than spectacle. The focus shifted from what she wore to why she was there, reinforcing the idea that her presence was intentional and meaningful. Meanwhile, renewed interest in Chalamet's award-winning performance surged. Streaming platforms reported increased engagement with the film that earned him Best Actor, while search trends indicated a spike in curiosity not only about his work but about the personal journey behind it. The emotional resonance of the speech appeared to deepen audience connection to the performance itself. Academic voices even entered the conversation, with media scholars discussing the moment as an example of narrative convergence. Professional achievement, personal affirmation, and live broadcast combined into a single, shared cultural experience. Such moments, they argued, are rare precisely because they cannot be manufactured, only recognized when they occur. As weeks passed, the couple's public appearances remained limited, but each one was scrutinized closely. Small details, a shared glance, a brief conversation, coordinated departures, were dissected for meaning. Yet the absence of overt displays seemed to confirm what many suspected. The declaration did not change their behavior, it merely revealed it. Some critics questioned whether the moment placed unnecessary pressure on the relationship. Others countered that the calm aftermath suggested a foundation strong enough to withstand attention. The debate itself underscored how invested the public had become, not just in the romance, but in what it represented. By mid-season, references to the speech appeared in unrelated entertainment coverage, used as shorthand for sincerity in a high-profile environment. Journalists compared other acceptance speeches to it, often noting what they lacked rather than what they included. The phrase, "Critics' Choice Moment," quietly entered pop culture vocabulary as a benchmark for emotional impact. As award season drew to a close, retrospectives consistently placed Chalamet's speech among the defining highlights of the year. Not because it altered the course of the ceremony, but because it altered perception. It reminded audiences that even within tightly controlled public narratives, moments of truth can surface unexpectedly. Looking ahead, industry observers speculated on whether the moment would influence Chalamet's future choices, both professionally and publicly. Some suggested it marked a turning point toward greater openness, while others believed it would remain an exception, memorable precisely because it was singular. What remains undeniable is the longevity of the moment's impact. Long after newer headlines emerged, the clip continued to circulate, resurfacing in compilations, discussions, and cultural analyses. Each replay reinforced the same conclusion: the power of the moment lay not in spectacle, but in sincerity. In the evolving history of modern Hollywood, the 2026 Critics' Choice Awards will be remembered not only for honoring outstanding performances, but for capturing a rare intersection of success and vulnerability. Timothée Chalamet's quiet declaration to Kylie Jenner did not demand attention, it earned it. And in doing so, it left an imprint that continues to resonate well beyond the stage, the season, and the applause. As time went on, the moment began to be examined not just as celebrity news, but as a reflection of how fame, intimacy, and storytelling intersect in the modern media landscape. Analysts observed that what made the declaration so powerful was not its scale, but its timing. It occurred at the precise instant when professional validation and personal acknowledgement converged, creating a narrative arc that felt complete in itself. Public relations experts noted that many high-profile figures carefully separate awards recognition from personal life to avoid diluting either message. Chalamet's decision to merge the two, even briefly, challenged that convention. Rather than weakening the impact of his achievement, the personal note appeared to deepen it, framing the award not as an isolated triumph but as the result of a broader emotional journey. International fan communities played a significant role in sustaining the conversation. Across platforms, translations of the speech circulated alongside cultural interpretations, with audiences connecting the moment to their own experiences of support, partnership, and perseverance. This global resonance helped elevate the story beyond Hollywood, positioning it as a universally relatable moment despite its elite setting. Meanwhile, commentary surrounding Kylie Jenner continued to shift. Long accustomed to being the subject of scrutiny, she was now discussed in terms of emotional presence rather than spectacle. Cultural commentators emphasized that her reaction was notable precisely because it was unguarded. In a media environment saturated with calculated responses, her visible emotion was perceived as a rare instance of genuine vulnerability. As weeks passed, the clip remained a reference point in discussions about authenticity. It was cited in opinion pieces exploring why audiences increasingly gravitate toward moments that feel unscripted. The argument was consistent: viewers are not necessarily seeking access to every detail of a celebrity's private life, but they respond strongly when they sense truth. Film critics also revisited Chalamet's winning performance in light of the speech. Some argued that understanding the emotional context surrounding the actor added depth to their interpretation of his work. While the performance stood on its own merits, the public acknowledgement of personal support offered a glimpse into the emotional resources that may have informed it. From a historical perspective, the moment began to be compared to other iconic award speeches, though with an important distinction. Unlike declarations driven by activism or controversy, this one carried no overt message beyond personal gratitude. Its impact came from understatement, reinforcing the idea that minimalism can be more powerful than grand gestures. Behind closed doors, industry conversations reportedly reflected admiration rather than concern. Contrary to fears that the declaration might be seen as unprofessional, many insiders viewed it as a sign of maturity. By acknowledging someone important without oversharing, Chalamet demonstrated control rather than impulsiveness. As coverage continued, the narrative matured. Initial headlines focused on shock and romance gave way to deeper analysis about meaning and consequence. The story evolved from a breaking news moment into a case study on how authenticity can shape public perception more effectively than strategy. Even as new entertainment stories emerged, the Critics' Choice Awards moment remained a touchstone. It was referenced in interviews, retrospectives, and think pieces exploring the future of celebrity culture. Each mention reinforced its status as a defining scene of the year. In the end, what lingered most was not the applause or the headlines, but the stillness that followed the words. For a brief moment, the spectacle of the awards ceremony gave way to something quieter and more human. That pause, shared by everyone watching, became part of the story itself. As the industry moves forward, the image of Timothée Chalamet standing under the lights, acknowledging Kylie Jenner with 3 simple words, continues to resonate. It serves as a reminder that even in an environment built on performance, sincerity can still command attention. Long after the season has passed, the moment remains relevant not because it demanded to be remembered, but because it felt real. And in a world where so much is rehearsed, That sense of reality is what ultimately secured its place in cultural memory. As months pass and award season fades into memory, the significance of that single moment continues to deepen rather than diminish. What initially appeared as a spontaneous emotional gesture has gradually been understood as part of a larger, more nuanced narrative about identity, growth, and self-assurance in the public eye. For Timothée Chalamet, the declaration was not a break from character, but an evolution of it. Observers familiar with his career trajectory point out that Chalamet has always chosen roles that explore vulnerability, isolation, and internal conflict. In that sense, his acceptance speech felt aligned with the themes he has portrayed on screen for years. The difference was that this time, the vulnerability was real, unscripted, and directed at someone specific rather than an audience at large. Media psychologists analyzing the moment suggested that viewers responded so strongly because the declaration disrupted expectation. Award speeches are predictable by design. Audiences know the rhythm, gratitude, humility, acknowledgement of collaborators. By introducing a personal truth without dramatization, Chalamet created cognitive dissonance that captured attention and emotional investment at once. Kylie Jenner's continued silence after the event further shaped public perception. She did not issue statements, post lengthy captions, or capitalize on the moment through branding or content. Instead, she allowed the declaration to exist on its own. This restraint, experts argue, reinforced the authenticity of the exchange and prevented it from being reframed as a media strategy. As the weeks turned into months, industry retrospectives increasingly framed the 2026 Critics' Choice Awards as a night defined by emotional resonance rather than spectacle. Lists of most memorable awards moments consistently placed Chalamet's speech near the top, often describing it as quietly transformative rather than explosively dramatic. Film industry veterans noted that younger generations of actors are reshaping the relationship between celebrity and audience. Rather than maintaining rigid distance, they appear more willing to share selective truths. Chalamet's moment was cited as an example of how carefully chosen openness can strengthen, rather than weaken, public respect. The ripple effects extended into academic discussions about modern fame. Media scholars reference the speech in lectures and articles examining how live broadcasts still possess unique cultural power in an age dominated by on-demand content. Unlike curated social media posts, live moments carry risk. That risk, when met with sincerity, can produce lasting impact. Meanwhile, fan communities continue to interpret and reinterpret the moment through art, essays, and commentary. Some viewed it as a declaration of stability in an industry known for impermanence. Others saw it as a statement about redefining masculinity, where emotional openness is no longer seen as weakness but as confidence. Chalamet's subsequent public appearances subtly reflected this shift. While he did not become overtly more expressive in interviews, his demeanor suggested ease rather than guardedness. Journalists noted a calm confidence, as if the burden of maintaining strict separation between personal and professional life had slightly eased. Kylie Jenner's presence at later industry events also drew attention, though in a quieter way. Her attendance was no longer framed as surprising or controversial, but as expected. The narrative had shifted from questioning the legitimacy of the relationship to acknowledging its steadiness. Over time, the initial shock of the declaration gave way to acceptance, and eventually, normalization. What once felt extraordinary began to feel inevitable, as if the moment had simply revealed something that already existed rather than creating something new. Cultural critics argued that this transition, from surprise to understanding, is what ultimately defines impactful moments. They do not remain shocking forever. They settle into collective memory as reference points. Chalamet's speech achieved that status not by escalating, but by remaining singular. As new award seasons arrive and new moments compete for attention, the 2026 Critics' Choice Awards declaration continues to surface in comparisons. Often, it is invoked not for its content alone, but for its tone. Calm. Direct. Unembellished. In a culture saturated with noise, those qualities stand out. In retrospect, the power of the moment lies in its balance. It neither demanded privacy nor surrendered it entirely. It acknowledged love without exploiting it, achievement without arrogance, emotion without excess. That equilibrium is rare, And perhaps that rarity explains why the moment continues to resonate. Ultimately, the story endures because it speaks to something universal. At its core, it is about recognizing the people who sustain us during our most challenging journeys. Stripped of fame, awards, and headlines, that truth remains deeply human. And so, long after the applause faded and the cameras moved on, the image of Timothée Chalamet pausing on stage, choosing honesty in a room full of expectations, remains fixed in cultural memory. Not as a scandal, not as a stunt, but as a reminder that even in the most orchestrated environments, authenticity can still find its moment, and when it does, it lingers.